Today, you're going to learn how to create and execute a marketing strategy that actually leads to sales and qualified leads. So there's actually 5 crucial steps to executing a proper marketing strategy, proper marketing campaigns. So let's get started. Step number 1, you want to begin with the end in mind. So here's what I mean. I often speak with clients that actually don't have a clear picture of the ultimate outcome they want. Maybe they want to add 100K in sales. Sure, like we can do that, but can your infrastructure actually handle it? Sometimes too, I go into businesses and the receptionist is actually killing valuable leads that are calling in. So here's a quick story. I was, interviewing a client, and I just called up their business. So it was a hair salon, and the receptionist was not helpful at all. She didn't offer to reschedule. So we listened to other phone calls, and she actually put some customers on hold for a really long time. So it doesn't matter how much business we bring to the phone if the receptionist kills business. You got to fix that first, right? So other things to consider when you're thinking about the end is, do you actually have the time to, let's say, handle 5 new clients a month? So let's say you're a lawyer. Can the size of your current business practice handle 5 new clients a month, which is 60 clients over the course of the year, right? So let's say your baseline right now is 25. Can you double the number of clients you work with? And the question is, are you prepared as a business to hire more staff to handle the extra business demand, right? In the case with the lawyer, with the extra clients, are you prepared to hire an assistant? If you're manufacturing a product, are you prepared to ramp up capacity, maybe expand your warehouse and things like that? And then, so that's typically an exercise I do with every client is like, what is the ultimate outcome, right? Maybe more clients is not necessarily the solution. Perhaps charging premium pricing and increasing the price is a better solution, right? So the number one thing here is you want to have a clear definition of what success looks like with numbers. So it's actually essential, if we want to reach our target, to actually have a clear target that is defined. Now, another thing to keep in mind is, are you planning on exiting the business in 5 years, let's say? So if so, adding predictability to your marketing, your growth and your profits will actually facilitate the sale and actually command a higher premium, right? So again, if that's in the back of your head, well, maybe you need a different marketing strategy, right? So again, focusing on the end and working your way backwards is the best way to proceed. Number 2, you want to clearly identify your ideal clients and your profit centers. So who exactly are the 20% of your clients or your buyers that actually generate, 80% or more of your revenue, right? In any given business, there's maybe a particular type of client or maybe a certain number of clients that generate most of the business. So let's say you have 100 customers. Typically, there's maybe a 15 or 20% that give you the majority of your business. I know in my case, as a marketing consultant, this is definitely the case. And for a lot of other businesses that I work with, this is also the case. So why is this important? It's important because if you clearly identify who that 20% is, you can focus on either expanding them, so expanding the work you do with them, or just getting more similar clients. So part of identifying your ideal clients is actually building a client avatar. This is essentially a profile of your ideal client. So you actually want to get a picture of that client, give him or her a name, an income range. Otherwise, if you don't have a client avatar, all the marketing you're going to be doing is essentially you're going to be talking to yourself as opposed to your ideal client, your client avatar. For example, you talk different to a 60-year-old male engineer than a 35-year-old female with 2 kids, right? So they have different sets of fears, of needs, and beliefs, and they have actually a different perspective maybe on the product you offer. So this is why having a clear client avatar is very important. And all the big businesses, the big chains, when they're actually creating a marketing message or a campaign to generate business, they all refer back to their ideal client, to their client avatar. So again, for your business, if you have an existing business or if you're about to go into business, what you want to do is you want to conduct research. I know it's boring, it might be tedious, but essentially you want to interview your clients, your ideal clients. If you're new to business, you might have an assumption of who your ideal client is. Well, you actually want to chat with them and talk about their needs, their fears, their beliefs. So there's a set of questions you can ask. Things like, what are your top 3 initiatives for the quarter? So if you're selling more of a B2B solution, you might direct your questioning that way. You can ask, what sort of problems they're facing in their business. So, for example, my scenario where I'm a marketing consultant, I might ask things like, okay, what is currently working in your business in terms of generating leads? What's not working? What have you tried in the past? And so on. So you can come up with a list of questions that will allow you to uncover what sort of profile those persons have. And it goes beyond, gender and title, right? Are they conservative? Are they liberal? Are they more blue collar versus white collar? You'll talk different to a male that's blue collar versus a female that's white collar that's older, right? So keep that in mind when you're building your client avatar. So let me tell you a quick story. When Apple was failing and had, maybe a few months worth of cash left in the bank, Steve Jobs actually came back to rescue it. And one of the first things he did was kill 80% of the product line. Essentially, he focused on the few, not the many. And so what I want you to do as a business is you want to focus on what's generating you the most revenue, the most hassle-free revenue, the most profit, right? So a good exercise to do almost quarterly, at least yearly, is to look at the previous 6 to 12 months and identify which product or service generated the bulk of the profits, right? And ask yourself, should we kill some services? Should we kill some products? Should we just double down on the winners? And so on. So great companies, they focus on 1 or 2 core products or services, and they actually work on making those products the best. Think of Tesla, think of Apple, think of great companies. They're known for 1 or 2 flagship products or services. Number 3, messaging. So what is the best messaging that resonates with your customer avatar? So notice how everything is building on top of each other. First, we define the outcome. Then we define who our ideal clients are in our profit centers. And now we're going to determine what is the best messaging to reach those ideal clients, right? So for example, say you're running a martial arts dojo. You might be offering self-defense, but are you offering maybe women's self-defense classes, right? So the emotion you're offering might be protection and security, right? Maybe you're offering kids classes. So another avenue could be targeting parents, and the messaging could be, make sure your kid knows how to defend himself, protect himself from bullying and predators and things like that, right? So that could be another angle for your messaging. Sometimes you might be a more fitness-oriented martial arts dojo, right? So lose weight while having fun. So notice the messaging for each of those is very different, the targeting as well, right? So some you might be targeting parents with young kids versus females that are in their 20s, right? Or maybe you want to promote more the combat sport aspect of martial arts, right? So this is why the research is very important, is that you want to identify the message that's going to resonate best with your customer avatar, right? So if you figure out that women's self-defense is actually bringing in more people into the business, well, maybe you want to focus on that and expand that aspect, right? Also, it's very important to know the lingo and the specific terminology of your industry. So if you're doing this for your own business, that's all good. But let's say you're trying to promote a golfing product and you don't know anything about golf, it's probably a good idea to pick up a few terms about golf and read some magazines and watch some videos about golf. This is again to make your message more clear and effective if you're using, industry terms and things like that. And in your advertising, you want to make it about them. So you don't want to say like, my company is so great and here's what we can do for you and blah, blah, blah. You want to put yourself in their shoes and make it in the benefits they're going to receive. And you also, in a headline, you also want to remove the things they hate. So for example, how to start a profitable business in 41 days without being a technical genius, right? I sort of make it about them versus let me show you how great I am and how much money I make, right? People won't be as responsive to that type of ad. Another key component when you're writing your message is you want to add specificity. So here's what I mean. One headline could be how to lose weight, and then a way better headline could be how to lose 5 pounds of fat in 21 days or 29 days without starving yourself, right? So you see how the second headline sounds more real, it's more appealing, it's more precise, right? Even though you might be selling the same thing in both ad copy. And of course, any claims you make must be true. I'm not a legal expert, but obviously any claims you make need to be real and provable and things like that. So again, in any form of advertising, your headline, your image, or if you're doing video ads, the first 10 seconds of the video, they must capture the attention, right? That is the purpose of the headline. That is the purpose of the image. And those first 10 seconds is you got to hook them in. You got to capture their attention. Otherwise, they're not going to read the rest of your message. They're not going to watch the rest of your video. Number 4, distribution, spreading the word. So now that we've identified the best messaging, and of course you'll need to test that messaging, right? Meaning you might grab a few different angles and test what's resonating the best. But now that the messaging is identified, what is the best way to reach that customer avatar, right? So I'm simply going to put it out there. Facebook is still the best platform to advertise on. It is so inexpensive to advertise compared to all the other possibilities. The targeting is simply amazing. And then you might be wondering, well, my client is in the age range of 55 and 65. It's actually the fastest growing segment on Facebook. So older generations, baby boomers, are actually on Facebook right now. So Facebook, if you do video, image, text, regardless of the type of business you have, you need to have a Facebook strategy in place. You'll thank me in a few years. So there's a few key platforms. Facebook, like I just mentioned, Instagram, which is also part of Facebook. You must have some sort of Instagram presence. Google Ads. Google Ads are very important for local businesses, things like restaurants, shops, barbers. Same thing with professional services, lawyers, accountants. Essentially, Google Ads is what we call intent-based advertising. So somebody types in Google, best barbershop in New York, and then your ad shows up, and then they click on the ad, and then they book an appointment with you or with your barbershop, right? Same thing with lawyers, same thing with accountants. So any type of a local business, professional service, you 100% need Google Ads. There's also a Google Merchant Center. So if you are into the e-commerce play, so if you manufacture or sell any type of product, so for example, if you're selling furnace filters, you definitely want to be on Google Merchant Center. It's similar to Google Ads, so people type furnace filter 20 by 20, and then your ad shows up. It's a visual ad. It shows the product, and then they click, and then they can buy, right? Also, if you're doing e-commerce, you should 100% be on Facebook. Same with Instagram. And then if it makes sense financially, Amazon. So Amazon does take a cut, but if you're any type of manufacturer of products, you should 100% advertise on Amazon. They'll even remarket for you on Facebook automatically and Instagram automatically, right? So if you've ever go to amazon.com while you're being logged in and you browse and you click a few products, and then later on in your Facebook feed or Instagram feed, you'll see those same products advertised to you. It's actually Amazon advertising on your behalf, or sorry, on the manufacturer's behalf, showing you the ads. So Amazon will spend some marketing dollars to sell your product on Amazon. They obviously take a cut, so it makes sense for them to do this. But definitely, if you're in the e-commerce game or manufacturer game, Amazon is for you. And finally, YouTube marketing. You can actually target audience that have an interest, let's say in bracelets or watch. You can target that audience with some video ads on YouTube. So again, if you're doing any type of e-commerce or if you're a local business, you should definitely do YouTube marketing. And also, if you're more business to business, so maybe you have some professional services like lawyers and accountants, LinkedIn might be a good platform. They have an advertising platform, so you can run ads, but they also have something called the LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So if you're looking to be more on the sales side, doing some prospecting, you can use LinkedIn to do that. So let's backtrack a little. So the way I typically operate is we nail down one channel, a channel being one of these platforms first. We get that working and then we move on to the next one. So the process is we'll start with the one that has the most potential to have an immediate impact and a long-term impact. Usually that's Facebook. If it's a local business, it's Google Ads and then Facebook. But typically it's either Facebook or Google Ads. We'll nail that first. Once we have something working, we move on to the next channel, right? That way your efforts are concentrated and you can have a fast and long-term positive impact. So for you, the viewer, I don't know what kind of business you're helping or running, but I would potentially look at either Facebook first or Google Ads first, and then really get that going. Start generating some sales with that, and then move on to another platform. You don't want to scatter your efforts into Facebook, Instagram, Merchant Center, Amazon, YouTube, and so on. You want to have a focused effort. Number 5, measuring results. So what gets measured gets done. So you obviously want to measure how effective your marketing is. So this is super key. It's going to allow you to make adjustments. It's going to allow you to double down on what's working and kill the rest. So you want to install Google Analytics. Facebook also provides analytics. You want to set up conversion goals. A conversion goal is something like in Google Ads, let's say you want someone to buy your product. So when they visit the thank you page after they bought your product, that could be the goal, right? So there's a way you can set it up in Google where it will track that. So if you're running, let's say, 4 different Google Ads campaign, you can see which one reaches the goal the fastest. So maybe one has 40 goal conversion, and then maybe the rest only has 2 or 3 each, right? So that's a way to test, is that you set up the goals, and then over a period of time, maybe 40 days or 30 days rather, you can see what's working best and then kill what's not working, right? Another way to track results is you can have unique phone numbers for your advertising. So you might have a main business phone number, and then maybe for your Google Ads, you buy a VoIP number, a different phone number that redirects to your main line. And there are systems like CallRail and things like that that will track those phone numbers and the length of the calls and things like that. In practice, what this means is that let's say you run a Google ad campaign, you can see that, okay, 24 calls this month came from the unique number that I only use on those ads. So you can actually prove and justify that, okay, yes, we spent $3,000 this month on Google Ads, but it generated 20 business calls and we closed 10 of them at $1,000, let's say. So using unique phone numbers might be an option for you. So linking form submissions to your CRM. Here's what I mean. Let's say you're a lawyer, and before people can book an appointment with your law firm, they need to fill out an application form, right? So what you can do is you can actually link that form to your CRM where you track all your leads and your sales. So you can, sort of begin tracking the sales cycle. So you can see, okay, February 1st, Jane submitted the form, then that gets put in automatically in your CRM. And then, the next week you have a call with her, and then eventually it turns into a deal 40 days later, right? So linking the form to your CRM will allow you to track better the leads, right? Another thing you can do is you can actually ask the customers directly, right? Like, hey, by the way, where did you hear from us? It could be done informally in an email as well. So simply knowing where they're coming from, if they said, oh, I saw your Instagram, or I saw your Google, or it could be word of mouth, right? So asking the customer directly is another option to know if your advertising is working. So if you're doing promotions, you can have unique promo codes for specific channels, right? So if you're advertising on Instagram, you can have one promo code. If you're doing it on Facebook, you can have a slightly different one, right? And then when they redeem that code, whether it's online or in person at your store, you know which code they use. Therefore, you can track what's working best, right? So for example, if you have a 10% code off and it's Insta10, the code for Instagram discounts, and you see that you have 98 people using the Insta10 discount code, then you know that Instagram is working. So yeah. And then finally, it's really important to first understand the lifetime value of a customer, LTV. It's also known as CLV, customer lifetime value. Essentially is over the entire journey of a customer with your business, how much money are they worth, right? So if you're a service business, maybe you know that on average they'll purchase $2,000 worth of services over 5 years. So if you start tracking those numbers, how many each client purchases, how long they stay with you on average, and things like that, you'll be able to have a lifetime value for your customers, and this will allow you to make better marketing decisions, right? By better marketing decisions, here's what I mean. So if you know that, let's keep it simple. So if you know that the LTV is $5,000 and the customer stays with you on average 5 years. So you know that now you can spend, $3,000, $4,000 to acquire one customer, and you'll have $1,000 profit at the end, right? So, but if you did not know that number, you might get scared. You might be like, well, I'm only going to spend $300 max to acquire that client. But if you know that your LTV over 5 years is $5,000, then you can go deep and spend, $2,000, $3,000 to get that one client. And then customer acquisition costs, CAC, is how much money essentially, when all is said and done, does it cost you to get that client. So after you factor in your marketing costs, your spend, paying that marketing person, etc. So how much does it cost you to get a new client in the door? So by knowing those two numbers, you'll be able to make way better marketing decisions. It's going to allow you to grow your business a lot faster, right? Because if you know that you can spend $4,000 to get that one client and you're still going to make $1,000 profit, then you can spend $4,000 all day long, right? So that's it. So these are the 5 keys. So again, you want to begin with the end in mind. You want to clearly identify your ideal client and your profit centers. And then you really want to nail down your messaging. So you want to have clear messaging that resonates with your ideal clients. And then number 4 is you want to distribute that message via multiple platforms such as Facebook, Google Ads, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And number 5 is you want to measure your results. So you want to know things like your LTV, your CAC, and so on. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment below, like the video, share it, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Cheers.